What's up, y'all? It's your boy JTMM, aka Just 10 More Minutes, aka the Freaking 10. Back again with another video, and back again with Sabaton. This one, A Price of a Mile. Now, normally when I Google it, I kind of see a quick summary of what the video is about, just from the overview of the Google results. I haven't seen it on this one, so I know absolutely nothing, which quite honestly is really what I prefer. And I don't mean that in a way of a insult to the band or what they're covering, but it's more of I like to see how they tell a story without me knowing it, and can I understand that story? It's just how I judge music, and judge lyrics more specifically. And so for me, I really like going in and not understanding, and that's the problem I kind of ran into with Sparta and Shirayama and Midway, is because they were put to movies. Very well done, by the way. So I do appreciate the request that came in from that subscriber about that. But it put a precedent in, or I shouldn't say precedent, sorry. It put a thought into my head, and I found myself watching those movies more than necessarily listening to the music. Now, I hadn't seen any of those movies, so that's most likely why. So not a knock on SG Knight or, who recommended it. It's more of just how my brain works. So with this one, I know nothing about it. I'm ready to listen to it. Their music always intrigues me with something I'm going to learn. So there's only one thing left to do. Let's switch it up and check it out. And this other light is not on for some reason. And boom, we have more light. And that light's not on. Look at that. We have beautiful lighting. All right. As I said, I do one take. You get my true reaction with this. I'm not going to re-record over and over until I get it to what I would deem perfect. You get what you see. Anyway, with that being said, let's listen. And this is the lyric video.
Throw your soldiers into positions whence there is no escape, and they will prefer death to flight.
Like the intro.
Rains the scene, scars the fields that once were green. It's a stalemate at the front line, where the soldiers rest in mud. Roads and houses, all is gone. There's no glory to be won. Know that many men will suffer. Know that many men will die. 500,000 lives at stake as the fields of Passchendaele. And as the night falls, the general calls, and the battle carries on and on. What is the purpose of it all? What's the price of a mile?
Okay, so I'm gonna stop it there. So, and I saw this was from 2008, right? So it's older. And they kind of had this intro, a lot of their intros, it's really one or the other. You get this kind of intro like this, or boom, they kind of smack you around and say, okay, listen. Both are good. I like this one because it gives you this gritty, distortioned sound from the guitar, and it kind of sets the mood, right? Dirty, gritty, and it goes along perfectly with the song. And I like how they did that with the book. That's pretty cool, with the pictures and the text. But it's the lyrics that get me. And I say this again, this is why I started the channel, is to see the stories that these musicians are telling. some bands tell them really well, some bands don't. You know, and some bands just leave you in awe. Hear the sound of a machine gun, hear it echo in the night. Mortals firing rains the scene. Scars the fields that once were green. Picture that, right? I mean, you're hearing the machine gun and it echoing, right? I mean, that's all you're hearing. And we've seen it in multiple videos, right? Where they just have that machine gun going and going and going and you hear it. But when you put yourself in the position of where these soldiers were, whether, you know, it was their turn to take a break, you know, while others covered, that's all you heard. You know, they call it an art of war, but it's just, I don't know. There's something about it that just strikes with me on that. It's a stalemate at the front line where the soldiers rest in mud. Roads and houses, all is gone. There's no glory to be won. Know that many men will suffer. Know that many men will die. 500,000 lives at stake. Ask the fields of Passchendaele. As the night falls, the general calls, and the battle carries on and on. How long? What is the purpose of it all? What is the price of a mile? You know, and I don't know which battle. I mean, obviously it mentions Passchendaele here, but I don't know the history of the battle. But that's truly, if you really think about it, you know, trying to go into another country or just march forward mile by mile. And some of these battles were extreme. What is the price of gaining that mile? You know, if you really to break down a war, right, with 1 mile at a time and put how many lives were lost in each of those miles, it puts into perspective just how nasty it is. It's fascinating. Let's keep going. I really love the melody. I love the distortion of the guitars. You know, this is 2008 and their music sounds a little bit different today. At least from the ones I've covered so far. It's just more crisp and more clean, which, you know, again, it's not a knock on their older stuff. It's just, you know, the way I perceive it. But I like this gritty sound to it. Let's see where it goes.
Thousands of feet march to the beat. It's an army on the march. Long way from home, paying the price in young men's lives. Thousands of feet march to the beat. It's an army in despair. Knee deep in mud, stuck in a trench with no way out.
Okay, I rarely ever do this, but I want to hear that again. That was freaking phenomenal. Listen to the change.
Thousands of feet march to the beat. It's an army on the march. Long way from home, paying the price in young men's lives. Thousands of feet march to the beat. It's an army in despair. Knee deep in mud, stuck in a trench with no way out. Thousands of machine guns kept on firing through the night. Mortars placed and wrecked the scene. Guns the fields that once were green. Still a deadlock at the front line, where the soldiers die in mud. Roads and houses since long gone. Still no glory has been won. Know that many men have suffered. Know that many men has died. 6 months of ground has been won. 500,000 men are gone. And as the men crawl, the general call, and the killing carried on. And on. What was the purpose of
Okay. This chorus is, and I really try not to cuss, and it's not because I don't. I cuss like a sailor in real life, but this is fucking phenomenal. I am in love with this chorus, and because if you listen, it's the comparative between the two. Because if you start listening to the verse, right, it's just dun dun dun. It's got the tempo, and I don't want to say it's somber, but in some ways it's somber with how they're presenting it, as it should be with this particular topic. But then it's just boom, and it's beautiful. This goes right up there with some of my favorites. Bismarck, and I don't know if it's because Bismarck was kind of that first one I listened to that really resonated with me, with just that chorus that just kind of was awesome. But I really like this one. Wow. The lyrics tell the story, right? So let me scroll back up and get to it. Thousands of feet march to the beat if it's an army on the march. Long way home, paying the price with young men's lives. Thousands of feet march to the beat. It's an army of despair, knee-deep in mud, stuck in the trench with no way out. Thousands of machine guns kept firing through the night. Mortars blazed and wrecked the scene. Guns in the fields that once were green. Still in a deadlock at the front line where the soldiers die in mud. Roads and houses since long gone. Still no glory has been won. And I really like the effect they did where they actually started writing the text above one another in the book. It was just a little cool switch. Know that many men have suffered. Know that many men has died. 6 miles of ground has been won. 500,000 men are gone. Right? So I said earlier, think about, you take it per mile and the amount of men that died just in that mile. You know, the 5,280 feet, I think, is what it is. I think that's insane. As the men crawled, the general called, and the killing carried on and on. How long? What's the purpose of it all? What's the price of a mile? Thousands of feet march to the beat. It's an army on the march. Long way from home, paying the price in young men's lives. Thousands of feet march to the beat. It's an army in despair, knee-deep in mud, stuck in the trench with no way out. And so, you know, when I talk about rhyme schemes, they have a couple in here, right? Where they talk about thousands of feet march to the beat. They do that several times, but and then they've got kind of one and gone with pronunciation you can do. The killing carried on and on. How long? You know, you can kind of do a pronunciation, which they do. But other than that, they don't do a lot of rhyming. They focus on the story. But I also noticed, and I mentioned this in a previous video, one that was, I want to say it was from 2014 or maybe even 2010, where it looks like their style back was not a lot of rhyming. Again, at least with the ones I've covered, but it was truly storytelling with some rhyming in there, as opposed to today. They've got a rhyme scheme where it's kind of a line, then you start your rhyme, then a line, then you end your rhyme, and then, you know, you repeat some things from the top. So I've kind of gone over that rhyme scheme in a couple of videos that I see kind of the pattern. But this one, again, it's an older one, and they just kind of tell the story and throw rhymes in here and there. But it's the music itself on this chorus. I won't apologize. I think it's right here. Is it? I think so, yes.
Long way from home, paying the price in young men's lives. Thousands of feet march to the beat. It's an army in despair. Knee deep in mud, stuck in a trench with no way out. Thousands of feet march to the beat. It's an army on the march. Long way from home, paying the price in young men's lives. Thousands of feet march to the beat. It's an army in despair. Knee deep in mud, stuck in a trench with no way out. Thousands of feet march to the beat. It's an army on the march. Long way from home, paying the price in young men's lives. Thousands of feet march to the beat. It's an army in despair. Knee deep in mud, stuck in a trench with no way out. Thousands of feet march to the beat. It's an army on the march.
Okay. I always watch to the end because I've learned my lesson. If I don't, I may miss something. And sometimes they show not as much on lyrics videos, but sometimes they give credits. And so I do like to see those so that people do get the credit they deserve with the hard work they put in with those visuals, even on lyric videos. So they fixed exactly what I was about to say. And that was, as they're repeating this, right, the thousands of feet marching to the beat, they really could have ended it after 2. And my fear was, as I looked at the time and saw there was 55 seconds, is that it was going to drag on longer necessarily than it should. But Sabaton being Sabaton, they started to fade it. Exactly what they should have done. Some bands like to repeat the chorus to drive the point home. And really, once you've done it twice, my personal opinion, then it just gets repetitive, right? Then you're just extending a song for the sake of extending it. But they did exactly, especially with the lyric video, where they immediately started fading it out and you just kept the images going. Very well done. Very, very well done. And that's just a picky thing for me. That's, I mean, my opinion matters very little in the grand scheme of things. It's one of those things, if you repeat your chorus more than twice, you kind of lost me at that point. Very well done. This video was fantastic. And not just the video with the images, but the song. The lyrics were great. The music was fantastic. Definitely one of my favorites. I think besides Bismarck, even Father was great. Actually, as I go through and I replay all in my head, I'm like, okay, well, you've got this one. So, it's up there with my favorites. Just, I love that chorus because it kind of just goes on and it really hammers the home. The thousands of feet march to the beat. It's an army in despair, knee deep stuck in the mud, stuck in the trench with no way out. Just so well done. And then they throw little things in that they still do in songs today, like when they go the price of a mile, right? And then lead into the chorus. And we've kind of heard them in some songs with that da-da-da, da-da-da-da, that I really like when they do that. I don't know. It's just, I guess it's a little bit of a shock factor, right? Where you're not expecting just that fast line. And so it hits you out of nowhere and you're like, oh, I'm easily entertained like that sometimes. Anyway, fantastic video. Let me close it. I'll give you my final thoughts. As I dive more and more into Sabaton, and I think this is probably my 7th, 8th video, I've honestly lost count. I see patterns in their music. I see patterns where they like the vocal with the chorus to emphasize things. There's a lot of things that I see, but one thing remains true is how they tell the story. They don't beat around the bush. It's here's the story according to history. And it's one of the reasons, as I've thought more and more about it, that I've decided I'm going to start watching the history and start reacting to those after I've listened to the song. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to mark down all of the ones like Bismarck and Stormtroopers, Red Baron. You know, there's quite a few that I've listened to, and start watching the history of those and reacting to that as well, and pausing and just kind of giving my thoughts as I watch it. You know, I'll see what the reaction, if people like those, I'll continue doing them. If you don't, you know, I'll watch it on my off time because it's truly fascinating. And there's so many other videos I know that lie ahead for me with them, that I need to look at their discography and just kind of decide. Kind of like what I'd done with Ginger, where I went back and I started and I came to the present day. I think I want to start kind of going there. So with that being said, let me give some shameless plugs. This was an amazing song. I love it. If you like the video, hit that like button. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. If you like the content I'm putting out, hit that subscribe button that you see. And just let me know that the content I'm putting out is worth watching. The response so far tells me that it is, which is why I keep recording these. I'm absolutely loving it. You know, whether it's a Sabaton or Nightwish or Ginger or one of the new bands I'm covering, people chime in and give me their thoughts on the song, or, hey, check out this or check out that. It's the greatest thing to me. It makes my day. So, and it just keeps my request list going, and I'm like, great, new band, I get to check them out, you know. So please keep them coming. I'm loving the ride and the journey that we're on together. I'll say it again, it's not about me, it's about us. Forming friendships and bonds over music, which is really what I wanted. You know, the comments and how everybody treats each other with respect, it does make me tear up, because where we are in the world today, there's so much fighting over stupid crap that in the grand scheme of life is all about personal choices and how we're losing those. No matter what side you're on, there's choices and stuff that are being taken away from us. And music is not one of them, right? We have the freedom more and more to listen as these more independent artists come through, and we just bond over music. And that's what I wanted this channel to be about. So, you know, let's keep it going. Let's keep it rocking. I appreciate the support. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And until next time, my friends, always remember, if someone asks you to stop what you're doing, don't ask for 1, don't ask for 2, and certainly don't ask for 5. If you ask for 5, I'll figure something out, and I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, if someone asks you to stop what you're doing, don't ask for 1, don't ask for 2, and certainly don't ask for 5. If someone asks you to stop what you're doing, always ask for just 10 more minutes. I'm JTMM. Y'all enjoy. I'm out.